All right, welcome back to our franchise mode here at the Calgary Flames. We are just after the 2019 trade deadline, a trade deadline in which just days prior we made a big move and we made our big splash and brought in goaltender, Craig Anderson. We did send out a 2019 first round pick and a 2020 fifth round pick along with Curtis Lazar, sending him back to Ottawa to get a starting goaltender in Craig Anderson. So welcome to episode 20 of our franchise mode. You may have noticed if you watched the previous episode that it came to an abrupt end after we made a second trade. Unfortunately for us, we have fell victim to EA Sports' NHL 18 trade deadline glitch. Yes, that is right. So there's a couple reasons I ended the last episode as soon as I did. First reason is that episode was going 57 minutes, and obviously I did not want to exceed the 60-minute limit on the Share Factory here on the PlayStation. So definitely wanted to keep that episode under 60 minutes. But the second biggest reason is, again, if you watch the end of episode 19, we did make a trade. Now, we made that trade for Craig Anderson here and brought him into Calgary, but we made a second trade, and that was to address our depth forward positioning. We obviously weren't able to get Jakob Silfverberg, so we went after Rick Nash, and it turns out we got him. We got Rick Nash for a 2020 second and a John Gillies, who obviously we replaced with Craig Anderson. Here's the problem. When this trade went through, we had to do some roster moves, and we moved ahead to trade deadline day, by the way, when we made this trade. So we were right on trade deadline day, and we made this last-minute trade, and when the roster moves were made, they automatically put Rick Nash here in the AHL. Now, you can see him there in the AHL, and here's their NHL team. So what I did is I went ahead and tried to move players down, such as Slater Cougar, Dmitry Yaskins, guys that have no, we don't need them in the NHL, and we can obviously exchange them for Rick Nash. So watch what happens when I try and send Dmitry Yaskins down for Rick Nash. You can see down there where it says our cap space, we have a .38 still to work with. This should easily work, sending down Yaskins and bringing up Rick Nash. And when I click it, this happens. So I have no problem with having to fix our lines, and I have no problem with Dmitry Yaskins going through waivers. But then it says you're over the NHL salary cap. And again, if you look there in the bottom right, clearly we are not. So I tried this 1,000 times over. So many different answers. Like I tried moving so many different players just to get Rick Nash to come up to our NHL team, because we obviously just made a move to try and get this guy. Turns out it doesn't work. In fact, it turns out this has happened to people before. It turns out that this is a common glitch right before the trade deadline, or at the trade deadline. If you try and make a move, it will send that player, in this case Rick Nash, to the AHL, and you are unable to call that player up, and you get fucked over bad by EA Sports. So thank you very much, EA Sports and NHL 18, for completely fucking us over with this glitch. That is brutal, because we went out and spent a second round pick and John Gillies. John Gillies wasn't really anything, but we went out and sent a second round pick for Rick Nash, and he gets sent to our AHL team and helps us in the NHL. And does not help us in the NHL in any way. So that sucks, because we really wanted to address our needs down here. Not only do we not get to add a player down here to address our bottom six, but we get fucked over with the second round pick as well. So I tried to go back. I tried to see if there was any saved files that I could go into just before we made the Rick Nash trade, seeing if we could go back. I tried everything. I looked it up online. I did a lot of researching. Turns out this is just a glitch, and there's nothing you can do about it. I can't go back into my save files. There is no files that were saved from before this trade happened. So it turns out the only way we're going to get out of this is to trade forward. So the only way to get out of this, and it's not really getting out of this, it's just kind of adding on to it, is we trade Rick Nash away and get something back. Luckily, I did some looking around here. Luckily, we have the ability to get a 2020 second round pick back. So that's all I'm concerned about at this point. I tried to do it with Detroit. I tried to give them Rick Nash back for a 2020 second. I didn't even care about the about John Gillies. I just wanted my second round pick back from Detroit. They thought I was crazy. So obviously, I think this game is fucking crazy for having stupid glitches like that, because it can really fuck you over here mid-season when you're in the playoff race and you're trying to make these big trades. So it sucks. It sucks to be on the wrong side of a glitch like this, to not be able to do anything about it. But like I said, we're just going to have to trade out of it. So like I said, luckily though, there are teams here such as Boston, but they're up against the cap, such as Carolina, that will be willing to take on Rick Nash, and in retrospect, they'll be willing to give us back a 2020 second. So that's all I'm concerned about. I just want this 2020 second back. For Rick Nash. In fact, it looks like we could even maybe get a little bit more. So what we can do is, and I know this doesn't really matter, but we could just pretend it was a three-way trade with Detroit. With if it's Carolina we're choosing to go with, we can pretend it's a three-way trade here. Excuse me, between Detroit, us, and Carolina, in which we acquire pretty much to swap a second round pick and see if we can squeeze out a depth pick here. So wouldn't mind squeezing out, hey, look at this, our sixth round pick from 2019. Maybe we can squeeze that out of Carolina to go with a second round pick. So let's try it. Rick Nash for a sixth and a second, and it works. Again, I'm not going to go crazy. We probably could have got maybe a little bit more than a sixth round pick, maybe even a fourth, but at this point, I just want my second round pick back that I spent on Nash. So we do get it back. We do make a three-way trade, if you will, with the Carolina Hurricanes and the Detroit Red Wings, and we get Rick, we get out of that Rick Nash problem that we just had. So that's brutal. I can't believe. I can't believe that that glitch exists in this game. It's pretty brutal. Just trying to look here. Let's put E2 Tuola in here. All of our lines got fucked over as well. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to go back to best lines, because I'm going to have to go out here, and refix all of our lines, because they all got messed up in the AHL, and you'll notice into the NHL as well. Our lines got completely messed up. So, and here's the other thing that we can't do anything about it, is they sent Rasmus Anderson down in that whole debacle when Rick Nash was being sent down. And they brought Slater Cuckoo, and now I can't even recall Rasmus Anderson for Slater Cuckoo. So it's just a huge, insanely huge problem that happened after that glitch. Again, I wish I could have went back somehow and got out of it, but unfortunately that's not the case. So this is what it is. Again, welcome to episode 20. I apologize for the abrupt end to episode 19. Obviously I had to work out a few things here and decide where we were going to go from that glitch. Luckily, like I said, we were able to at least get our second, or not our second round pick, but a second round pick back that we spent on Rick Nash. Like I said, if you want to look at it, it could just pretend it was a three-way trade, in which we also got a fifth round pick back for swapping our second with Carolina. And Detroit, and Carolina gets Rick Nash out of the deal. Obviously, it's not in our division, so we don't care. And the other thing is, if you want to look at it, we can just pretend we waived John Gillies on waivers, and he was claimed by Detroit, or we got that fifth round pick back for John Gillies. So it's really stupid, but that's all we can do at this point, is just kind of pretend that that's the way it happened. Like I said, luckily, we are very lucky to at least get a second round pick back out of this, and that's all I cared about, was getting back that second round pick, because I mean that was a lot to spend for a guy like Rick Nash, who was a rental. I mean, if you watched that end of last episode, I was overpaying like crazy to try and get Nash. I did it with Silverberg. We ended up not getting Silverberg. Montreal ended up way overpaying for Jakob Silverberg. We ended up overpaying pretty much for Rick Nash, and then we got fucked over by EA Sports' roster move glitch. So, again, I really hope it's something that this game can address going forward. It's a pretty brutal glitch to happen right at the trade deadline, and for that to happen, I mean, like, clearly, you can make the salary cap work, but yet the game won't let you call up those players. So, anyways, enough of me complaining about it. It is what it is. We were able to trade out of it in a way, and so we will move on from here. So, at the end of it, we did get Craig Anderson, as mentioned. So that's the big thing. At least we got one huge asset at the trade deadline. We did not upgrade our forward group, unfortunately. We tried to, obviously, with Rick Nash, obviously backfired on us, but that's okay. We will go forward with the forward group that we have. So here we go. We are going to roll into the month of March and begin the grind of the season, if you will. You got March and, March and April. And we will go from there. It is obviously a grind. You can see where we are here in 77 points, a second in our division behind Vancouver. So without further ado, let's get past this stupid trade deadline and let's move forward with the season. So we'll jump right into the calendar then and start simming here. As mentioned as well previously, we do not have Rasmus Anderson. With that glitch that happened, they did not allow us to keep Rasmus Anderson for some reason in the NHL. We were forced to somehow send him to the AHL, and Slater Cuckoo, who we claimed off of waivers earlier in January, and we were trying to trade as a chip at the deadline for multiple pieces, including Rick Nash. We obviously we have to keep Slater Cuckoo in the NHL, so it is what it is. Again, I'm not going to complain, but let's just keep let's just move on here with the season. So. Yeah, there it is right there. The Flames have called up Slater Cuckoo. Yeah, we didn't really have a choice, so thank you, notifications there. So, anyways, first game after the trade deadline. The deadline is now behind us. You can see it there in red on the 27th. Here we are, the 28th. We've got the Nashville Predators. So, as mentioned, I also had to go and, I don't know if I mentioned it, I had to go back and edit all the lines in both the NHL and AHL because with those roster moves that the glitch did, it obviously messed up every single line. So, we have Rasmus Anderson on the top pairing with Juuso Välimäki in the AHL. So, hopefully they can continue to grow their season down there. It just sucks because Rasmus Anderson was having such a good season in the NHL with Joe Morrill. I thought that third pairing was just excellent, but obviously now we have to move forward without Rasmus Anderson. So it sucks. We're just going to have to live with what it is. But let's just get to this Nashville game. So Craig Anderson is making his Calgary Flames debut, and I just clicked play game. My bad. So Craig Anderson making his Calgary Flames debut. We have gone right with him after the trade deadline. Like I said, Mike Smith has had a pretty inconsistent season, so that's why we were forced to go out and make the move that we did. So let's see how Anderson does in his first game as a member of the Calgary Flames. We are going to go period by period once again. So here we go, first period. Nothing here against the Predators. They have 12 shots. We have 10 second period. They get 2, we get 1. There's Johnny Gaudreau, but they get 2 there from Victor Arvidsson and Craig Smith. So Anderson letting in 2 goals on 23 shots through 40. Third period, can we fight back Calgary? And we can't. So that is not good. They beat us 5-2. The Predators do. Looks like they sink an empty netter there with Carly Jankro and Giordano getting on the board for the Flames, but Craig Anderson allows 4 goals, because you don't include the empty netter. He allows 4 goals on 39 shots, roughly. So that is not good. We did give up a lot of shots, but not a good debut for number 41 in goal. Just taking a look here quickly. Points-wise, there is Sam Bennett with 2 points, but that is about it. And then Craig Anderson, as mentioned, there he is, 8.95 in his first game as a Calgary Flame, makes 34 saves on 38 shots. So obviously, we'd like to see a little bit better out of the guy that we just acquired there for a first-round pick and a 5th, and Curtis Lazar. But especially that first-round pick, we spent a lot on this 37-year-old goalie, so hopefully he can pick it up from here. But we're going to stick with Anderson. That's just one small sample size. We do have the powerhouse Tampa Bay Lightning now in town, so this isn't going to be easy. Just taking a look there at the standings in the East. Where are they? They're 4th. They're in a wild card spot, are the Tampa Bay Lightning. You can see us in our division. We do fall back a little bit of the Canucks there. They move ahead of us, but well, I wish this would stay where it is. Okay. You can see, though, that the Edmonton Oilers still at 69 points, so we're almost still, we're about 8 points clear of Edmonton still. But we'd like to get up there with the Vancouver Canucks, so hopefully a bounce-back game here against the Predators. We have finished off the month of January technically that Nashville game was in January, so now let's begin the month of March. So we are going to go into this calendar because it's 10 times easier to sim. Yeah, we had a pretty good month of February there, and in which we went. What did we go with that Nashville game? We went 6-3-2. So not bad if you include that Nashville game. Obviously, that hurts our record a little bit, but 6-3-2, we will still take that. Obviously, that is a much better month than we've been having the prior month. So you can see how busy this month is. So we might just start rolling. We've got a lot to get to here. Begins, as mentioned, with the Tampa Bay Lightning. So this is not going to be an easy game. We're going to keep the lineups the same right now because obviously, like I said, we can't play with our roster moves anyway. So we'll go period by period here. Tampa and Calgary, first period. There we are, Johnny Gaudreau, back-to-back games with a goal there, beating, guess who, Andre Vasilevsky. Maybe a future Calgary Flame, we will see. A second period, they get 3 there. Nemestikov, Andre Palat, and Steven Stamkos. Not good there through 27 shots, 3-1 Lightning. And there it is, 5-1. Wow. Okay, so Craig Anderson is absolutely getting routed in his first couple appearances as a Calgary Flame. Once again, we give up almost 40 shots on it, but still, Craig Anderson is not having a good start with the Calgary Flames. So this is obviously extremely concerning for us. Just taking a look there, -2 for that third line of Ferland, Frolik, and Jankowski. Slater Cuckoo and Joe Morrow now in the minuses. This is something we did not see with the third pairing up until we just lost Rasmus Anderson at the trade deadline, and they brought us Slater Cuckoo. So that's really hurting us. Sometimes it's just the chemistry between a pairing that is doing so good, and right now that sucks. I wish we still could have kept Rasmus Anderson because he was playing much better than Slater Cuckoo is through his first 2 games as a Calgary Flame. So this is not good because we went full out to get Craig Anderson, and he's not having a hot start at all. There it is, 8-6-8. So we are going to pull him out of the net now, put Mike Smith back in net, and then we'll go from here. So, yeah, not good at all. So we got the Vegas Golden Knights. They're just behind us in the standings. We did beat them there in February, as mentioned in regulation. So we got to beat them once again. These are the divisional games that we have to win. If we want to finish in the top in our division, we have to win these divisional games. So there are the Vegas Golden Knights, 66 points. We are 77 points, so we are 11 points clear of the Vegas Golden Knights. We got to keep pushing them back and pushing ourselves forward. That's back-to-back losses after a pretty solid month of February, and you can see the Canucks are just pulling away now. At one point, we were just 1 point back of them. Now they're up at 84 points there. So I think what we will do here is ahead of a divisional game. We will switch a few things up here. Let's try bringing Ferland down, bringing Versteeg up there. We'll keep Frolik and Jankowski. One of the main reasons I wanted to get a depth player down here was to really help Mark Jankowski. He's been struggling on the third line this season, and I just wanted a player on here that could really help him out, help boost his point percentage, but obviously we didn't get that. That would have been nice if that was Rick Nash, but obviously we did get Rick Nash, but then got messed up with that glitch. So, like I said, we can't do much right now about this Slater Cuckoo, Joe Morrow thing. We can't even call up another defenseman unless, I guess, somebody got injured. And so that's obviously not going to happen. So we will try putting Mike Smith back in net then for a divisional game against the Vegas Golden Knights. He did get the win against Vegas there in the month of February. So we will try it here. So, yeah, we'll go like that. Make some minor changes there, and hopefully we can bounce back after 2 straight losses here. We need a divisional win, a huge divisional game here. So come on, Calgary. Let's get the W. They get 2 here in the first. Chris Versteeg moving back up on that third line. Gets a goal beating Marc-Andre Fleury. Come on, Flames, second period. There we go. There we go. Mark Jankowski, Chris Versteeg, Matthew Tkachuk, and TJ Brody. We jump out 5-2. We got to hang on here in the third, Calgary, and we do. We do allow 1 goal there to Riley Smith in the final frame, but we hang on for that 5-3. So what a second period, an offensive burst there in the second period in which we score, 4 goals. So that is huge. A huge divisional win. 2 points for us, no points for the Golden Knights. So a good bounce back win there for us. Again, Ferland struggling with that bottom line, and there it is again. Slater Cuckoo, Joe Morrow, -2. So, like I said, I can't even call up Rasmus Anderson at this point. I think the glitch is still in effect. I can try it, but this pairing is just struggling mightily right now, and we can't do anything about it. I mean, it's brutal. That top line struggled a little bit, but other than that, that fourth line struggled as well. So I think we will try bringing in Derek Roy. We only have one extra player, by the way, in Derek Roy. 897 there for Smith, so not even a good night for Mike Smith, but he got the win. So we don't even have much in terms of depth now. We did trade away Curtis Lazar, but we also, I think we lost another roster player somehow, because now we only have one extra player, and that is Derek Roy. So we may have only had two to begin with, so maybe we just, we weren't able to bring back another player. Obviously, if we would have had Rick Nash, we would have been able to bring back another player. So I think what I'll do is try pulling out Ferland for the first time, I think, this season. Put our in our only scratch player, Derek Roy, because Michael Ferland, -2 for 2 straight games. Try him there with Cedric Parquet and Dmitry Yaskins go back on the right side. Yeah, I don't think we can. I'm going to try it here, but I don't think it will allow us to call up Rasmus Anderson. Can we go to roster moves here? Now that we're after the trade deadline, it will allow us to do that. And if that is the case, I'll be pretty pissed because we could have kept Mike Smith. So yeah, it won't let us right here. Even if we did the swap here with Anderson and Slater Cuckoo, in which we would actually be saving salary. Because if you take a look here, Slater Cuckoo's making 1.12, Rasmus Anderson clearly making less than that at 0.7. We would actually have a cap space there in the bottom left, 1.22. And so when we do it, it will say that we are, we can actually do it here. So we have to put Slater Cuckoo through waivers. Do I want to do that? You know what? I do. We will do that. And we will go to edit lines. So that's not bad. I don't know if it would have worked with Rick Nash. Either way, you know what? It is what it is. Like I said, we can't go back anyway. So let's just move forward from that Rick Nash and that whole, Kolbako at the trade deadline. We've learned our lesson. But this is good news. I'm happy to welcome back Rasmus Anderson back to the team with Joe Morrill. That third pairing was really struggling in the first 3 games since the trade deadline. So now we have Rasmus Anderson and Joe Morrill back intact. Joe Morrill, his plus-minus still a +15. After 3 horrible games, he still manages to be a +15. Rasmus Anderson still a +8. That's his NHL stat. So, I mean, that just shows you how good this pairing was throughout the whole season, that Joe Morrill could, be a -2 for almost 3 straight games. So pretty much a -6, and still be a +15 after being a -6 through 3 games. So that is how good this pairing has been for us down there. So we are happy to welcome back Rasmus Anderson. If we go to the AHL, Slater Cuckoo there. Hopefully he is. So he didn't get claimed. No, he did not. So that's good for us. He is a good depth defenseman. Just really wasn't fitting in there with Joe Morrill. So let's put him in. Give me a second. I'm just going to substitute him in here. I just want to fix our lines now that Anderson is in the NHL. I'll give the playing time back to Oliver Chillington. So give me 1 second here. All right, so I put Rasmus Anderson then back in the NHL, as mentioned, and Slater Cuckoo is now in all of the ice time pairings down there in the AHL. I moved up Oliver Chillington with Yusuf Alamaki to allow that pairing to grow. Because really, when you look at our defense, we do have some good prospects down there in both Yusuf Alamaki, Oliver Chillington, even Brett Kulak, if you will. So we want to get those guys to continue to grow, and we did just that. We're doing just that, and welcoming Slater Cuckoo to that defensive core as well. So I think his 77 can definitely help our AHL team that is fighting for the playoffs as well. So another huge divisional game here against the Anaheim Ducks. We need this one. Anaheim, obviously, as mentioned, they are a complete rebuild team in full rebuild mode. As mentioned, they have Dustin Tokarski in that as their #1 goalie. They did trade away John Gibson there at the trade deadline, so we obviously roll over them pretty easy. And in his return to the NHL, Rasmus Anderson scores. So welcome back, Rasmus Anderson. Good to have you back. Corey Perry, the only goal for them. So that is good. That's back-to-back divisional wins for us. Like I said, that one over Vegas was a lot bigger than this one. Anaheim is dead last in our division, might even be dead last in the National Hockey League. They're in full seller mode, or they were at the trade deadline. Top line struggle, or second line, with Monahan now. Now that Tavares is up there, they struggle just a little bit in this one, but that is okay. We will take this one, it is obviously a win. 9-4-7, better night there for Mike Smith. Only faced 19 shots there. So you know what? Smith has back-to-back divisional wins. I mean, this sucks because we just spent a lot for Craig Anderson, and through 3 games, he had such a poor performance, and now Mike Smith is rolling. So you know what? We will run with the hot hand at this point. You know, we didn't go and get Andrei Vasilevsky. You know, we still have the option of going out to get Andrei Vasilevsky in the offseason and flipping Craig Anderson. The beauty about Craig Anderson is he has a contract that is actually easy to move. You know, almost $4 million for 2 seasons left. That's a lot better than, like, say, guys like Henrik Lundqvist, who had like 8-point-some million on a contract that would have been, and Roberto Luongo. Those would have been like almost impossible to move. So luckily for us, we have the ability, if things do not work out in this second half of the season with Craig Anderson, we can easily move on from Anderson in the off season and get a number 1 goalie back. So, you know what? Right now, it's too early to call, but we are rolling with the hot hand until the off season. So, Dallas Stars here. We need this win. Calgary. We are on a 2-game winning streak. Nothing after the second period here. They get one. Lars Eller. Come on, Calgary. Bounce back here in the 3rd period, and we tie the game up. There is Johnny Gaudreau. He's been huge for us lately. So we are going to overtime. And let's see if we can get the W, and it's going to a shootout. Come on, Flames, and we do. We get the winner. John Tavares in the shootout with the winner. So I forget what our overtime shootout record is. It was completely horrible to start the first half of the season, but I think it's been picking up better here in the second half of the season. Either way, though, we get the 2 points. Dallas does get a point. I don't know if they're fighting for a wild card spot, but we do get the 2 points, so that's all that matters. As long as we're rolling, we're getting 2 points. That's all that matters. Not much in this one. The only goal coming to Johnny Gaudreau. We win this one in a shootout. Another stellar night there for Mike Smith. But again, he is inconsistent, so expect that to drop off eventually, and we can roll back with Craig Anderson. Completely rolling with the hot hand right now. I didn't expect that. I thought when we went out and got Craig Anderson that that would spell the end of the time with Mike Smith. I really didn't think Smith was going to get pretty much any games for the remainder of the season. But he is, or Anderson, excuse me, is struggling, and so Smith is coming in and he is picking it up. So we will roll, with Mike Smith until then. So another game here against the Ducks. So let's see if we can make it 2 for 2 here in the month of March. First period is complete. There is Max Jones, the rookie for the Ducks, making it 1-0. Second period, we get back and tie it up. James, the real deal, Neal. Come on, third period, strong third period, Flames, and we get it. Sean Monahan, who has really been snake bitten in the goal department this season, finally scores, and he beats Ryan Miller, who was in net. So they still have Miller, so I don't know why they're not rolling with Ryan Miller over a guy like Dustin Tokarski, but hey, maybe they're trying to tank for the first overall pick. They're certainly close enough. So that's a 2-1 win. We don't even need to look at the stats there. Another good night for Mike Smith. We do get the win there. So back-to-back wins against the Ducks. We are now on a 4-game winning streak after starting off the month technically with just 1 loss, but if you include that Nashville game, which we do, pretty much in the month of March, we lose the first 2 games, but then win the the next 4 games. So that is huge. But look who we have next. Another divisional opponent, and this one is the San Jose Sharks. They are on the wrong side of 500, but still we need to beat them so we can collect the points and keep them down there. We really got to push those teams back further so we can eliminate them from playoff contention in our division. So another big game here. We're on a 4-game winning streak. Let's see if we can just keep on rolling. Mike Smith is hot right now, and as mentioned, we are rolling with the hot hand. So first period here against the Sharkingtons. Jonas Donskoy scores, beats Mike Smith 1-0. Second period, they have 19 shots already. Donskoy, his second. There's Johnny Gaudreau. Can we tie it up in the third period? And we do, and they get 1, but we tie it up with 2. Brody for a leak, and then Brett Burns. So we have got a point. We are going to the extra time. Can we get the extra point here? And we don't. Brett Burns gets his second of the game. So we do pick up 1 point. We give up 2 to the Sharks. They are further back. They're not one of the teams we're really fighting with. So that is good news for us. But still, you hate to give up 2 points to a divisional opponent that could come back to bite us a little later in the season. But 2-point night there for Brody and Hamilton each respectively. In the minuses is just Brody and Hamonic. That fourth line struggled a little bit, but We will continue to roll here. 8-5-2 there for Mike Smith, so his first loss, and probably not the best night. So I wonder, let's see who our next opponent is. I wonder if we go back to Craig Anderson and St. Louis. What are they? They are 37, 27, and 5. So you know what? This will be a good test for Craig Anderson. Mike Smith just lost his first game. It wasn't the best night for Mike Smith, so I wonder if we go back to Craig Anderson and see if he can steal the net back. That's why we brought him in. He's probably pretty pissed watching Mike Smith go on a hot start, especially after he was brought in to be the #1 goalie. So let's give Anderson the net back, see if he can make something out of it here. So we will put Michael Ferland back in here and take out Derek Roy once again, and go to goalies here and put Craig Anderson back in. So we're giving Craig Anderson another shot. Again, 87 overall. He definitely should be playing better than he did in those first 3 games as a member of the Calgary Flames. This is his chance to really take the net back here. So let's take a look at our divisional standings though quickly. 86. So we've pulled away from the Vegas Golden Knights, the Edmonton Oilers. You can see there the San Jose Sharks. We did give them 2 points, but they are pretty far back from us, as are Vegas and Edmonton, at least for now. We are 4 points back there of Vancouver, so we need to continue to get points here to catch Vancouver there. Same amount of games pretty much played for everybody. They're 69, 69, 70s throughout. So we need 2 points here against the St. Louis Blues. We are on a point streak, about a 5-game point streak. We've won 4 of our last 5, but we just need to continue to roll here. Craig Anderson back in net, so let's see what he can do here against a pretty good St. Louis team. They must be one of the top teams there in their division with 37 wins already. So first period, come on Flames. There's Tavares, Barbashev beating Anderson, so it's 1-1 second period. There we go. Sean Monahan scoring once again to beat Allen. Third period, hang on Flames, and we don't. They get 2 quick ones in the third and steal the game from us. So we blew a 1-goal lead. We did outshoot them 39-31, but it's 2 goals there in that third period by the St. Louis Blues that end up winning the game. So that's kind of a tough one to lose because, I mean, we had this game for at least through 40, and then we blow it in the third period. That sucks. And again, Craig Anderson in that. There's Ferland, Jankowski, Yaskins, and Parkett. So that fourth line struggling with a -2. We got to find answers down there. Our depth is starting to hurt us. Better night for Craig Anderson at 9:03, but still, you would have liked to seen him get the win. We are going to try one more game here with Craig Anderson before we go back to Mike Smith. Give him another shot here, but what sucks is that our depth is now starting to hurt us. You've seen that with our fourth line there in Parkett and Ferland and Yaskins. Yaskins playing his former team. But even when we had Derek Roy on there, or even if it was Curtis Lazar who we traded away, it didn't matter. Whoever we had in that bottom 6 on that fourth line and even that third line, they're really struggling down there. So it doesn't help that Mark Jankowski's line has been struggling almost all season, anchored by Jankowski, and that fourth line is just been on the wrong side of the plus minuses for most of the nights this season. So that really sucks. So, we were going to address that somewhat with Rick Nash, but it's pretty clear to me that even if we did bring in Rick Nash, still that bottom 6 probably would have been struggling. So that's a huge off-season focus for us. Obviously, we weren't even going to be able to do that at the deadline, but we will focus on that heavily in the offseason. So 4 goals in the first period here against the Predators. That's what I like to see, including one from the fourth line, Cedric Parkett. Second period here for the Flames, we get another one. They get one. There's Johnny Gaudreau getting in on the fun. And the third and final period, they get another goal. So that's 2 goals by Philip Forsberg in the final 40 minutes of play. They actually beat us in the final 40 minutes, outscoring us 2-1, but it was that 4 goals in the first period that propel us to a 5-2 win over the Nashville Predators. So another Western Conference opponent that you definitely want to pick up 2 points against, and if possible, not allow a point to, which we did. Pretty good night there for that third pairing of Rasmus Anderson and Joe Morrill. I just love these guys together. It just seems like these guys are having extremely good chemistry. It's insane. It's insane how 2 guys can just absolutely click. So That's what you like to see. There is a 941 save percentage for Craig Anderson. That is big for him. A big bounce back. That's really his first good game as a Calgary Flame in his fifth appearance. I think that's his fifth appearance as a member of the Flames, and finally his first game in which he actually makes it look like he's a starter. That is good to see. So here's a huge game for Craig Anderson. Here we go. We got Timo Pulkkinen on waivers. Timo Pulkkinen is on waivers. I'm just taking a look here. Depth, bottom 6'4". You know what? We need help in that depth position. 75. Yeah, I know he's not. Doesn't look like he's an NHL caliber player, but yeah, let's claim him. Let's claim him. Right now, we need anything to help that bottom six. We'll address Pulkkinen after this Edmonton game. Let's play this Edmonton game first, because this is a huge one. They are just below us in the standings. They're somewhat around 10 points back, but this is a huge divisional game. We got to push these opponents back. We did beat them in the month of February, as mentioned, in regulation. We have to beat them once again. This is another huge divisional game against our arch rival Edmonton Oilers. First period here against the Oilers, Giordano getting the goal for us, but Lucci and Draisaitl score for them. So second period, come on Flames. We bounce back and tie it up. Monahan and Versteeg, Nugent Hopkins for them. A huge third period here, Calgary, come on. And nothing, so we are going to extra time. We give the Edmonton Oilers a point, but we can't give them that second point, Going to the shootout there, still tied at 3. Shootout, and they win. There's the whole shootout. That's strange that they... Oh, I forgot to go to goal. So, anyways, they win it. Kachuk and Tavares there score, but they get 3 there. McDavid ends up getting the winner, of course, for the Edmonton Oilers. So, we do get a point, but we give them up 2 points. That's not good. Huge divisional game. We had to have the 2 points there, and we couldn't afford to really give them any life, and we did. So, not good there. 9-2-9, still a pretty good night for Craig Anderson. He does face 42 shots. So our defense is now allowing a lot of shots on net. We can't do anything about that. Anderson is solid through 2 games so far, so we will keep him in net. We go into Detroit and Columbus now, Montreal and Toronto, LA and San Jose. So a 6-game road trip coming up here. A pretty staggered road trip, if you ask me. But we have to find a way to go as good as we can on this 6-game road trip coming up here after that brutal divisional loss there to Edmonton, in which we did gain 8 points. So let's address our bottom 6, though. Let's see if they brought Timo Pulkkinen into the NHL. He could get a chance against his former team here in Detroit. There we are, 89 points. What was Vancouver at there? Toronto is just pulling away. 96. So, wow. Vancouver is not slowing down. In fact, they clinch a playoff spot, I believe, there with the X there. So they clinched the first team, in the Pacific to clinch a playoff spot. We really want to compete with Vancouver for the top spot in our division. It'd be really awesome if we could finish with our first divisional win since 2005. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Vancouver is really pulling away from us. There's Edmonton down there at 71. So actually, I thought they were a lot closer to us than that. So now that doesn't hurt as bad, it doesn't look as bad giving them that 2 points. Arizona is actually the next closest team to us at 72 points. So Vegas and Edmonton actually have slipped quite a bit since we last looked at the standings there in February. So that's actually not bad. 89 points, but we would like to be closer to Vancouver. So that's more our concern, is we're trying to get the points to catch Vancouver. But anyway. Before we start the 6-game road trip to finish off the month of March, let's see if we can bring in Timo Pulkkinen. So we'll try to take out Yaskins, and is Pulkkinen even on this roster yet? So he's not. So I wonder if we can go to roster moves here and bring up Timo Pulkkinen. Will they allow us to do that, or is it going to not allow us? So where's Pulkkinen? He's down here at 75. We did bring him in to be a depth forward, but and he is a right winger. I want to continue to grow Mangiapane, Poirier, Shinkarik in the AHL. So let's bring up Timo Pulkkinen if they will allow us. That won't allow us. We'll be over the salary cap. I don't see how, because again, you take a look in the bottom left corner. We should be okay there in the salary cap department, but I wonder if we try swapping him with Derek Roy, maybe. Will that allow us? It will, but Roy will have to go through waivers. You know what? Actually, you know what? We'll stick with our bottom 6 for now because Pulkkinen's not an upgrade over Roy. Roy is a 77. Pulkkinen is a 75. I think if this continues into the latter half of the second half of the season, so the final stretch of the season, just before playoffs, if this continues with our depth forwards where we are struggling, then we will call Pulkkinen up just before playoffs and switch Roy or somebody else down, just so we can completely give a change to that bottom 6 that is struggling mightily. So anyways, though, we will continue to roll what we've got here. So here we go. Detroit starting a 6-game road trip in Detroit. We're sticking with Craig Anderson for this one, making his 3rd straight start. Here, Christopher Stieg gets the goal. Henrik Zenderberg beats Anderson 1-1 after 20. Come on, Flames. We got to get points here. Nothing in the second. Come on, Flames. 3rd period, and it's the Detroit Red Wings that score. Anthony Mantha scores, so we outshoot them badly, 38-29. But again, they just find a way to get those sneaky goals in the 3rd period, and that's killing us. A 2-1 game. I mean, these are the ones we have to find a way to win. We do not. Not good there. We need the points here. So Giordano and Hamilton in the minuses. Craig Anderson, 9-3-1. So again, not Anderson's fault in this one. That's 3 pretty solid games in a row for Craig Anderson, despite 2 of them being losses. But, yeah, not much you can do there. So back-to-back nights. No, we'll stick with Anderson because those were 3 solid games for Craig Anderson. Rolling with the hot hand here. So we have the Columbus Blue Jackets here on back-to-back nights. We will try making a minor change on our 4th line and bringing back in Derek Roy. Let's take Cedric Parquet out and see if this can help our bottom 6 at all. And we just need to find a way to get points here at this point. Like I said, we're trying to catch Vancouver right now. It looks like we're pretty poised to lock up a playoff spot in a pretty weak Pacific division. But we just want to be near the top. But there's no reason we can't win our division this season, especially looking at how weak it is. But the Vancouver Canucks are just not slowing down. So that is posing as a problem for us. So here we go. This is the Columbus Blue Jackets, game number 2 of the 6-game road trip. And they score first. It is Anderson beating Anderson. 2nd period here. There we go. A goal from Christopher Stieg to beat Korpisalo. Come on, 3rd period. Finish strong, Flames. And we do. So just pretty much the same as that Detroit game, except we are on the right side of it this time. We score that final goal in the 3rd period to win 2-1, just like the Red Wings beat us the night prior, 2-1. So that is good. James the Real Deal Neal continuing to chip in there with points. So again, just another not high-scoring game at all, a 2-1 game. This time, Craig Anderson's 9.67 save percentage looks really good as he picks up the W. So Anderson stays hot, so that is good. I don't know what it was with those first 3 games. Maybe he was just getting used to his new team. But again, we're just rolling with the hot hand at this point. If Anderson slows down again, we can easily go back to Mike Smith. So there we go. We go 1 for 1 so far on this road trip. We are now rolling into Montreal. So let's play the Canadiens here. And then the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are just the powerhouse of the NHL. But let's start with the Montreal Canadiens. So Mio Poirier has been injured, so we got to take him out. So we'll quickly fix that. Spencer Food, you can come up here. Fisher there. Ito Tuola there. And let's just throw somebody in. Timo Pulkkinen. Hey, look at that. You can play your first few games in the Flames organization by replacing the injured Emile Poirier. So I don't know why we didn't put him in to begin with. I forgot to put him into the lineup in the AHL. But here we go. 42-29-2. So that's a pretty damn good season for the Montreal Canadiens. What are the Toronto Maple Leafs? If they're 48-20-6. So yeah, I think Montreal and Toronto are 1-2. 2-1, excuse me, respectively, in their division, which is the Atlantic Division. So this is a good measuring stick for us here. We've got 2 powerhouse teams in the NHL. We've got to be competing and winning these games with these type of teams. So 2 huge measuring stick games for us. So let's get right into it against the Canadiens and then the Toronto Maple Leafs. So we begin here with Montreal. Let's see if we can at least get a win out against one of these 2 teams. So first period, there it is. Sean Monahan beats Carey Price. 1-0 Flames. Second period, nothing. Third period, hang on Calgary. And we do. It's a 3-0 shutout in Quebec, beating the Montreal Canadiens. Michael Frolik and James Neal beating Montoya. So I wonder if Carey Price got injured there. as Montoya comes in. But nevertheless, that is a huge 3-0 shutout win for the Calgary Flames. Welcome to the Calgary Flames. Craig Anderson picking up his first shutout as a member of the Flames. So that is what you like to see. 2-point night for Monahan and Hamilton. How about Sean Monahan as of late? Has really been good for us these last few games. There's Craig Anderson picking up 26 saves for the shutout performance. Like I said, his first shutout as a member of the Calgary Flames. So that is what you like to see out of the guy that we went full out at the trade deadline to get. Edit scouting assignment. That's right. We forgot to do scouting. Let's see here. You can scout the defense in the American League. So we'll go 5 weeks then. But no, that's what we like to see. We obviously spent quite a hefty price at trade deadline to get Craig Anderson, and now we are finally seeing the type of goalie he can be for us as a number one goalie. So now it's Toronto, number one team in the NHL, reigning Stanley Cup champions, reigning President's Trophy champions. Barring a miracle, the Toronto Maple Leafs will win their second straight President's Trophy. They're on the verge of doing it. They lead us 2-1 after 20 minutes. There's Johnny Gaudreau, but Gardner and Shoshnikov scoring for the Leafs. Second period, Flames. Yeah, they're getting 2 more there. James Neal scoring for us. Can we bounce back and at least tie it? Force overtime here in the third period? No, we don't. They beat us 5-2. So you can just see how good of a team the Toronto Maple Leafs are. That's a hard team to compete with. They are just all around solid. Not much you can do in that one. They are the powerhouse of the NHL. Like I said, as long as we at least won 1 out of the 2 games against Montreal, Toronto, and we did, it was a 3-0 shutout over Montreal. But it would have been nice to take 2 out of 2. But hey, they're the top team in the NHL for a reason. Defending champs, defending President's Trophy champs. But yeah, you can see not a good night. All around, nice to see was more spread out than on one guy. Not a good night for Craig Anderson. He does face 37 shots, but unfortunately gives up 5. But you know what? We'll continue to roll with him. This was just one game against Toronto. So we do pick up 2 wins so far on this road trip. It is 2-2. We finish off with 2 divisional games against the LA Kings and the San Jose Sharks. So Poirier is able to come back. I want to keep Polkinen in there. Putting Polkinen in there. See, this is the problem. I want to grow Fisher and Tuola. Is there any guys down here that we can maybe take off? Tuola, medium, bottom 6. Fisher, that's the problem here. Shinkarik, Hathaway, Gavin Kennedy. We can take out Gavin Kennedy for now. We can grow him next season. He's still a ways away. And we'll bring Poirier back into the conversation here. Poirier, who is a 76, one of our best forwards there in Stockton. So we want to keep giving him the time. And we'll put him up there. Polkinen can play on the third line there with Phillips and Hathaway. So just mixing things up there. Okay. So yeah, we finish off this 6-game road trip here. We're 2-2 so far on this road trip. We finished off with 2 back-to-back games in California against division rivals. So let's see if we can finish off the month in a good note here with 2 divisional games. I think there was actually 1 more game left. But let's see if we can finish off. So, LA Kings, Calgary Flames, first period. 2 goals there, Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau. Monahan has just been red hot in the second half of the season, so that's good to see. Second period here, there's a goal. Dougie Hamilton, 3-0 Flames. Third period, there it is. The 4-0 shutout. Derek Roy scores the final goal, and that is the second shutout as a member of the Calgary Flames for Craig Anderson. I'm happy that we kept him in net. He is rolling. So, huge night for us against another divisional opponent. A huge divisional game for us. Bennett and Ferland having the 2-point nights there. Gaudreau and Monahan each finding the back of the net, and just 13 shots for Craig Anderson. So it's a pretty easy shutout. Or maybe not. Sometimes it's not easy to face so little shots in a game. But that is good. That's good to see. The fact that he only faced 13 shots, he stopped them all, and we did win. So that's a huge divisional game. Can we finish off this road trip in style against the San Jose Sharks, a team that is down there? We'd still like to beat them, though, in our division. Huge divisional game. Here's the first period. Flames, nothing. Second period, 1-1. It's Ferland and Bodker. Third period, come on, Calgary, and we finish it off. So that's good to see. Jankowski, Gaudreau, and Tavares. That's what you like to see there. And the Calgary Flames with 2 back-to-back divisional games. Like I said, we're in a pretty weak division at this point, but it's good to win any divisional game you can. It keeps those teams back, and it keeps pushing us forwards. So Brody and Tavares with the 2-point nights, and another stellar night for Craig Anderson. He's really come in his own after a early struggle there in the month of March. He has really bounced back to that number one type of goalie that he is. So we do have one more game to finish off the month of March. It is the Winnipeg Jets, and they are 42, 27, and 7. So we are going to see if we can beat them. Is it a home game? Yeah. So we actually went what 4 and 2 on that road trip, on that 6-game road trip. So a pretty good road trip in that 6-game span that we went 6 and 2. So yeah, we finished off with the Winnipeg Jets. It'll be a nice way to finish off the month if we can do it with a W against Winnipeg. So let's see what we've got in the tank. First period, there's John Tavares. Second period, they score. Tying it up is Evander Kane. Third period, come on, Calgary, pull up the win. We don't. Blake Wheeler gets that sneaky third period goal once again, and they beat us 2-1. So that's okay. It was a pretty strong month of March for us. Pretty similar to the month of February. We have seemed to pick things up. Travis Hamonic has been injured, so here's a bit of a scare for us. So we'll have to fix this for sure. So just as the month comes to an end, it comes to an end with some bad news for us. Travis Hamonic, one of our top 4 defensemen, has been injured. So we'll move Rasmus Anderson up there. Now we have to call up a defenseman. So you're gonna have to let us call up Slater Cuckoo. I'm going to do, well, no, I'll do that after. So I'm going to put Brody there for now. No, you know what, we'll have to call up Slater Cuckoo. So let's go here, options. Roster moves. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Alright, so they'll have to let us call up Slater Cuckoo here. It's going to put us over the salary cap. I don't care, you have to let us, like, we have no choice here. Let's see, what do we got here? Hamonic's injured, like, I mean, what am I supposed to do here? I can send down Derek Roy and call up Slater Cuckoo. So yeah, that will let us do that, so we'll have to do that way then. Roy has to clear waivers, but hopefully he does. We'll edit lines quickly here because I don't want to. Alright, so I just finished editing all the lines. I had to go in the AHL and replace Slater Cuckoo there in the AHL and edit all those lines. And just as I did, I just literally simmed down here from that Winnipeg game that we lost there up to this Edmonton game, and it turns out that Travis Hamonic is ready to come back. So that kind of that was kind of brutal because we just did all those moves for nothing, and I just did all those edits for nothing. It turns out that Travis Hamonic is able to come back right away. So that is good news. So we will put Rasmus Anderson then back down here. Whoops. And we will take out Slater Cuckoo for now. And put Travis Hamonic back in. I'm not going to send Slater Cuckoo back down to the AHL. There's only 3 games left on the regular season, so I think we'll play those out, and then going into playoffs, we'll make our decision if we want to keep Derek Roy up and have the extra forward, or put Slater Cuckoo up and have the extra defenseman. They obviously have to clear waivers, but they've done it a couple times right now, and nobody's claimed them, so we'll make a decision from there. But let's just finish off this regular season. As mentioned, there's only 3 games left here. We have clinched our playoff spot, as we said there, with 97 points. So we will go from here. So let's just finish these off. We finished it off with a game against the Edmonton Oilers, a divisional game, but at this point doesn't really matter because we have our spot locked up. Dmitry Yaskins and John Tavares help us get the 3-1 win there, so we'll take that. And then 2 more games here, and the season is done. So Sean Monahan has been injured. Are you kidding me? With a concussion, so this is not good. One of our top 2 centermen out until the 7th of April. I know that's not long, but still, you hate to see that. So injuries playing a bit of a role to some of our top players here late in the season. So here's where things get pretty brutal. We don't have that extra forward now. So again, not going to go crazy right now. There's only 2 games left, so we'll throw Slater Cuckoo up at center. This is extremely, this wouldn't happen in real life, but let's just, substitute all lines, fuck. Okay, yeah, there's only 2 games left, but we can't play Slater Cuckoo at center for 2 straight games in every position, so I'm going to have to quickly make some quick edits here. So here, give me 1 second. I'm just going to quickly. All right, so I just threw Mark Jankowski and pretty much all of Sean Monahan's lines there. Like I said, there's 2 games left. It doesn't matter. It sounds like Monahan should be back before the playoffs anyway. So we will just put Jankowski, give him some extended ice time here in the final 2 games. These games obviously don't matter. We've clinched our spot. In fact, we pretty much probably want to rest players at this point anyway. So there's James Neal, there's Ryan Getzlaf, Sam Bennett has scored, and we beat the Ducks by a score of 2-1. So long, Anaheim. We'll see you next year. They are in the midst of a rebuild. It's good to see the Ducks not being one of those top teams in our division anymore. So there is the Arizona Coyotes. I think they're fighting for their playoff lives here. This last game might mean quite a bit to them. You can see they're tied with Vegas for 81 points. So we are actually going to play either Arizona or Vegas in the opening round of the playoffs. So this could be a possible matchup for us in the first round. So we could be finishing off our season by the same way it starts, and that's against the Arizona Coyotes. So let's play this, or let's sim this game and see if we beat them. I think the Vegas Golden Knights will be the team we play. If we lose here to the Coyotes, I think we play the Arizona Coyotes. So this is a really interesting way to end the season. So let's just see what happens here. First period, we get 2 quick goals, Kachuk and Neal. Second period, holy crap. Okay, so they want to make the playoffs. They've made it clear. So keep these names in. Remember these names: Lawson Krause, Clayton Keller, Nick Cousins. Some big guys stepping up for here. 5 different goal scorers here in this second period that might determine their playoff fate. So wow, keep a good eye on these names, because these guys could be key in that first round matchup against us in the playoffs. Third period, we come back, but like I said, it's not enough. So Gaudreau gets 2 goals. We do drop our final game of the regular season to the Coyotes, but it does look like, because they beat us, we will meet them in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken here. And yes, it is. It's going to be. So there it is. The regular season has come to an end. And there they are. The Arizona Coyotes have clinched the final spot in the Pacific Division. Only 3 spots in the Pacific Division this year. A pretty weak division. The Vegas Golden Knights just missed the playoffs, but the Arizona Coyotes able to jump past them there with the W. So we will play the Arizona Coyotes in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. We finished with 102 points. It's good enough, or excuse me, 101 points. Good enough for second in our division, and good enough for second in the West, I believe. Yeah, so second in the West, second in our division to only the Vancouver Canucks. So we were, just a few points away. I wish it would stop. Okay, so we were just, where's it going here? Okay, there we go. We were 5 points back, technically 6 points back of winning Pacific Division title and being the #1 team in the Western Conference. But unfortunately, the Vancouver Canucks are that team instead of us. But hey, for the second straight year, the Calgary Flames will finish second in the Pacific Division as one of the top teams in the Western Conference. And instead of finishing with 103 points, which we did last year, we finished with 101. So we finished with 2 points than we did the year prior. But we still make the playoffs, and we still are one of the top teams in our division and in our conference. So it will be the Arizona Coyotes that we face there in the Stanley Cup playoffs in round 1. They just squeak into the playoffs with a 6-4 victory over us to end the season. So then we will start the playoffs with the meeting against the Arizona Coyotes. So what a way this season has come to an end. What a roller coaster of a season it was for the Calgary Flames, up and down. What a second half push we made, good enough to get us back to where we finished 1 year ago. But let's hope for a different result now in the playoffs. We only made it to the second round last year. Let's hope that we can, let's hope that we can make it a little bit further. So we will face the Arizona Coyotes in episode 21 to kick things off. This video has gone on pretty long, so we will take a look at the standings, where everybody finished, where all the scoring leaders are, all of our players, our roster. We'll take a look at Arizona's roster, everything heading into the first round matchup with the Coyotes. So episode 21, the Stanley Cup playoffs begin with a matchup against the Arizona Coyotes.